Pull out to a home where it seems a man was using his fist on a woman, beating her up over some domestic row. I don't know if I could keep my cool with that man. I couldn't swear to that.
Defy the aging process. With a zinc galvanized body and a 24-stage paint and body process, the Ford Focus stays looking beautiful. And from just £10,460 with a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty, its beauty is more than skin deep. The Ford Focus, long-lasting beauty from just £10,460. Ford demands a closer look.
Have you any,
Protection? Yes, I do. Arm & Hammer PM.
Nighttime protection for your mouth.
Right. Now brace yourself, Rodney. Brace yourself.
Only Fools and Horses on UK Gold.
Reports are just coming in warning that a major earthquake measuring a possible 9.5 on the Richter scale could hit the coastal region and Valley District at any time. Further reports suggest that early warning systems which monitor and detect rapid tectonic plate movement may confirm scientists' worst fears that this may be the big one. Police officials have called for the public to remain calm.
What's that? You boys are in for a treat.
Liam Perrins with cheese on toast? How did you discover it?
There is no light at the end of the tunnel for the faculty. No magic wand that's going to come from the government. I'm anticipating a 40,000 deficit at the end of this year, which I think Chris would agree is pretty close to accurate. We have a $30,000 deficit, which we incurred last year, which is a carry forward. So we're looking at a total deficit this year of about $70,000. I mean, I think we've got to try and both raise some more money and we've got to try and save some money.
So it brings that 54 down to 45.
Okay, if we do the 1,700 there, I do those couple of toots, and we ask Alan to do another set of toots.
Yes.
That saves another couple of $100 there.
Okay.
So we saved $2,000, approximately $2,000 on that.
Okay, saved by... This year we were given 39, and the year before we were given 46, right? By the time we pay for the photocopier, the postage, the stationery, tuned the pianos once, it's all gone.
So we can't even afford to tune our pianos.
What do I do? Do I say to staff, okay, you've each got, 5 reams of paper, make do with this? I mean, we can't run courses without batteries for the, for the videos, batteries for the cameras, new strings for the violone, right? All this stuff, we cannot do the courses without this kind of backup. And where the fund's going to come from, I just don't know.
Gosh, we're in trouble again.
Well, I don't know what we can pull the plug on here.
No, I can't see anything there we can pull the plug on.
It's clean. You can say to the students, look, we've got a crisis, we can't do... Well, can I just finish? The tenacity with which you try to hold on to absolutely every aspect of the department as it was. I really do, and many times I'm supporting you. But I do think that every now and then, I mean, in these, when times are so difficult and straitened by so many things, we must give a bit, and this is an obvious area to give.
Well, it's a joke. A music department with no choir.
It's not a joke. Winsome...
It is a joke.
I mean, it is an important thing, but there are so many other important things, isn't there? You can't say.
Well, this is a bit, yes.
Stretched.
Every year, our resources are reduced. We have to do more things. I mean, something has to go.
You won't change anything unless you fight for what you believe in. And I think that too often we give in. We accept the status, the new status quo. We accept too much. We're not fighting enough.
We all think that it's a failing that we don't have a choir. But we can't kill ourselves. Because if we just go on doing that, then everybody's going to get sick and the whole thing's going to fall apart.
Well, I just see it as a downgrading of the quality of the department, and it's very, very hard to work. It's hard to work, so hard for a department that's losing its all its bits and pieces.
It's terribly demoralising.
And that's what's going to make it.
Seriously, I really seriously dispute that the quality of this department has diminished. On the contrary, I think academically this department is shining. Oh, not bad. Kylie, not to the point. I'm a professor of music at the University of Sydney. And we're in a situation at the moment where we're having to try and find some help outside the institution in financing parts of our curriculum. And I'm turning to Commonwealth Bank as a very first port of call in the hope that you might be able to sponsor some instrumental scholarships through the department. I mean, I thought the Commonwealth Bank might quite like the idea of being associated with the music department. And I mean, we're a pretty good music department, although I say so myself. And the students who actually get these scholarships are really quite outstanding youngsters in many cases. And I would have thought that could reflect very nicely in the bank's profile. Commonwealth Bank Music Scholars sort of has a nice ring to it, I thought, yes, but you're obviously the wrong person. So I should put that all in writing, should I, to Brian? We would be prepared to negotiate an exclusive relationship with you. This would clearly have considerable advantages in attracting favourable publicity to the bank. The bank. Quality music has always relied on quality patronage. It's for this reason that the Commonwealth Bank is the first organisation we're approaching. They should like that. I mean, the Commonwealth Bank is Australia's first bank. They should like that.
What we're proposing is a symbolic action that we will not cooperate with the university on its plans to celebrate its birthdays, and also indicating that we would have a stop work meeting organised for Thursday the 25th of March.
Is there any other business? I'll declare the meeting closed and the next meeting will be announced to you.
Well-attended meetings, isn't it? Sorry? Quite well-attended meetings. I got into such trouble last time for turning up and talking against the strike because I hadn't been to many other meetings. I thought, geez, I better...
You were one of those,
yeah. I'd better start coming so if I have to speak against the strike again.
Our niece,
yes.
65,000 next year with a 3-year business degree from UTS.
Yes.
You know, in a bank.
Yes.
She's already on 40-something, on top of all the privileges, which means that they get shares, reduced mortgage.
But that's fine, because she's chosen to go in that direction. I've chosen, this is my temple, this is my holy sanctum to me. It's a religion, it's a spiritual calling.
I can't. It shouldn't be like this in these days. I mean, you can't expect young people to sacrifice a lot of things. And,
if the church had said that.
Why would you want to be professor of economics here on 80,000 when you can be on 250,000 in a bank?
I can't strike on the issue of salary because I still regard teaching a privilege, a calling and a privilege.
I haven't been able to do this section. I'm still working through it inside, but what I want this to be more of a chorale, and I want these to kind of be building up to it in a kind of a what Taverner does in Hymn to the Mother of God with the 2 choirs, just I think at the distance of a couple of crotchets of a minim, doing exactly the same thing. That kind of
Using an antiphonal
That
relationship between two groups, two singing groups. Though hidden at times by the clouds of Adam's curse, you can actually do that with voices, coming in one after the other, maybe even break out of metrical texture altogether at that point in the score and write that proportionally. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
That could be very magical. You've got the oboe. Well, oh, God, Karen, just imagine that. Having the oboe and a solo voice.
Doing that
intertwined. Doing this almost as a plain song at the beginning and end of the composition. How magic could that be? With anticipation. Acoustic space that your choir has to fill it somehow. Fascinating about Monteverdi's music is that he stands right on the cusp of two periods. And composers who do this are always the most interesting. Beethoven was one of the most interesting because he stood on the cusp of the classical and the romantic periods. In my view, this is Bach getting very angry. And Bach was a very stubborn old fellow in lots of ways. And I mean, to the point where when one dispute with an employer, he was actually imprisoned for several months as he would not give ground on an issue. And in this case, one feels the voice of Bach protesting against the oppression of the individual. Okay, order's come back again. Order is restored, or is it?
That back by 30,000.
Yeah.
To the detriment of our students and our casual teachers who are very upset.
You mean the performance teachers?
Performance teachers, yeah.
Because of having so few lessons?
Well, they are in fact teaching the students as much as they did, and they're now not getting paid for it because they will not see their standards go down and they will not see their students suffer.
Bless them. So they're giving more lessons they're actually paying them for, are they?
Yes, a lot of them. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, it is, Anne, but it's not fair.
And the only reason F major can sound like that is because of the keys that went before it. Still composing. I'm glad to see it. Great, a rehearsal in progress. Mr. Stravinsky and Karen Sanson. No, it came and I thought, my goodness, they're rehearsing A Soldier's Tale. And I thought, no, it's not The Soldier's Tale. Yeah. There you are. You don't know The Soldier's Tale? Ah, well, you have a treat in store. You've created a piece that has a family relationship to The Soldier's Tale. Be very proud. That's another hang-up about in 20th century music. Everybody has this hangover from Romanticism. Everyone thinks you've got to write original music all the time. Nonsense! Nonsense! Utter nonsense! What you have to write is good music, and music that works. And I mean, any of you try and write a piece like The Rite of Spring, you won't be able to. And you'll probably write a much better piece than if you simply start from nowhere and not have any model whatsoever. Don't be afraid of models. It's the way you learn. It's the way you learn language from your mothers to start with. You have to follow. You have to begin from somewhere. What matters is whether you do it well. And that's what you're in this department to learn. And you won't learn it just by writing music either. You'll learn it by going to lectures in philosophy, by learning history, by learning languages. Because all these things work in ways that, in some respect, parallel music, the way in which music works, or relate to the way in which music works. Well, I can't compose music all the time. I'd like to. But I can't do it. I can't support a child and send her to give her the education I want. Can't do it. All I can say, there is a huge reward at the end of it, which is the day you write your first piece that you know. Doesn't matter what anybody else knows. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. That you know is halfway decent is just a fantastic feeling. The best feeling there is in the world. And it's even better if a few other people like it as well. But you know, I mean, it's really only you that knows whether or not you've done the job well. You might only ever do it once. You don't do it all the time.
Mm.
Now, hang on. Or of sorrow. Let's just hear that or of sorrow, because we've got of life or of mirth. Yes. Easy to think, perhaps if you were singing that note, that you actually might have been singing that note. And so that's possibly how Organum began. Fifth was fine, provided it was a perfect fifth and not that dreadful tritone that you all sang so beautifully.
What a day for a daydream. What a day for a daydreaming boy. And I'm lost in a daydream, dreaming about my bundle of joy.
The new Vauxhall Astra convertible with remote control hood. Handles life beautifully.
My bank said it was keen to fund growth and offered me new business a working capital facility repayable on demand. And my bank pulled the plug without any warning.
My bank said it had introduced a sliding scale fee policy for face-to-face business advice.
What's very important to us is face-to-face business advice. Oh, what a lovely cactus.
And then my bank charged a fortune just to see my manager.
My bank said it had streamlined its branches for my benefit and convenience. And guess what? That's right, my bank is now a...
None of my business here, but I suggest you try another bank.
Which communications network can put your business in touch with the entire country? A whole region? An individual city? An apartment block? Number 34. Or just Pete Smith, who's about to become your next customer. Think Royal Mail, and you're in business.
Powerful new bagless cyclone cylinder cleaner from LG with an easy to empty dust chamber. LG Cycling.
Do something, Prince Naz.
But I hate them.
Not more than me. I hate them more than you. I do. Be careful. Don't hurt its legs.
Throw it out the window.
Well done. Well done.
The white stuff. Are you made of it?
Budweiser salutes you, Mr. Footlong hot dog inventor.
Mr. Footlong hot dog inventor.
When conventional wisdom said no one could make a hot dog longer than 6 inches, you dared to dream.
Dared to dream.
The crowd cheered your 10-inch wiener. Wait, you said, I can give you 2 more inches.
Oh!
So this bud's for you, mister, for giving us all a bigger wiener.
I don't know how to simplify it. I've done that. Great. Ah. Commonwealth Bank. Looks like a statement. That's a pro forma letter. Thank you for your letter 10th of November in relation to scholarships in connection with the Bachelor of Music degree. We appreciate you giving the bank the opportunity to participate in this project. As I hope you'll understand, we received many requests from a wide range of causes, and as much as we would like to, it is not possible to help on this occasion. We wish to congratulate your department on the important work that it is performing and offer our best wishes for its continuing success. Well, that's a letter that gives nothing away, any level. And maybe I've gone about it in the wrong way, and I just really appreciate some advice into whether it's worth trying again or trying a different way, whether I could even possibly come and see Brian at some stage to get some advice on this sort of aspect. He did, yes, yes. Thank you, that's most informative. Would you have any suggestion as to, sort of other, well, firstly, is there any use, as it were, getting on a waiting list of some sort? Putting our application there for possible long-term consideration. The other side of this is, Fiona, frankly, if the universities don't succeed in getting support from the corporate sector, i.e. an investment in the education of our young people, quite frankly, a lot of us will be out of business in a relatively short space of time. Intensity, and you move to the point where you fuse. You cross over from one texture into the other texture.
What comes down is, am I going to sign pay claim forms for people or not? That on your behalf. That's the worry.
We can't knowingly if we're over budget.
No,
we can't do that. So in Josquin's day, by taking this, I think he's probably, Nicholas, that's right, making a point, a political point.
Yeah.
This whole document was presented to the
calm
meeting.
down, Winsome. Try to calm down before you
I've
say it.
I've just been teaching all day from 8 o'clock.
So have I, Winsome, all day without break, and I went to a meeting at
That's not what we're
lunchtime,
actually
which was
talking
very
about.
stressful. You're not the only person who's overloaded in this department, and I'm
So-
sick of you acting as though you are. bit much. Students coming at that time. Now, where the hell did this heads meeting come from? And that suddenly appeared in the computer. It hasn't been there before. It was to have been on this date. That was crossed out because this now conflicts with the half-day forum for the head of departments and deans half-day forum. But, I mean, how can I teach if I don't have time in which to teach? I've got to go to meetings. I can't go on teaching 20 hours a week. I'm not sick yet, but I could get sick. I could easily get very sick.
I'm teaching more than 20 hours a week too. But...
We've taken up the slack again and again and again, and now we've reached a stage where nobody can take up any more slack, and people are getting sick and falling down, and also, you know, I think it actually starts to affect collegiality in the department, and it affects, you know, the extent to which we can care for our students and all those sorts of things. If we cut back our formal sort of teaching, perhaps,
what we need are more we need more staff members.
But we're not going to get more staff members until we get more students.
Why? I mean, the question is,
we can't go on doing this, and if we don't agree about it, all that's going to happen is we're going to have more and more in the department of some people saying, I'm doing far too much and other people aren't doing enough. When in fact what's happening is that, you know, people are just making decisions about, you know, quite, I think, sort of perfectly reasonable, sane decisions about what is a reasonable load, and saying, I'm not going to take this year after year because I don't want to fall down with a stroke or a heart attack or cancer or whatever. It's not worth it. We should all be doing this.
Well, I mean, in terms of composers, we'll have to just not admit. I mean, our numbers, it's a very, very tricky situation, Alan. We'll have to not admit composers into the PhD for several years. We're going to have to... I mean, the point is, but as we do that, the department gets smaller and smaller and smaller. There just ain't the dough around because we have been having these cuts year after year after year. And every time now we have another cut, it means we have to shut another course. We give you fewer tutorials, you get fewer instrumental lessons. I mean, what kind of world is this? I mean, every time you shut, and I'm a professor of music, and unfortunately, I take that responsibility in some ways very, very seriously, because the idea of a professor is you're an advocate for your discipline. Primarily, you're an advocate for your discipline. You also carry huge responsibilities. Every time I have to cut something in this department, I know that I'm closing a door of knowledge in your faces. And in my view, you don't close doors to knowledge in the face of young people. You open as many as possible and invite them to walk through as many as they feel comfortable and some they don't feel comfortable in even, because it's terribly important. What are we going to do? I mean, seriously, are we going to allow this decline to go on happening? We all know about it without doing something about it? What can we do?
With a recommendation that we act on the motions that were put to the meeting last week, that we pursue an industrial campaign that gets the university to see reason.
We're getting nowhere with management, and sometimes we have to just do those hard things. It'd be much better if we didn't have to do them, but we're being forced into doing them, and I think we need to remember that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to draw our attention to the larger picture. We have a Vice-Chancellor who wrote in the Gazette quite recently, which goes out to, I believe, 160,000 people, that it has to be admitted, and I quote, I hope my memory is accurate, it has to be admitted that higher education in this country is in decline. What we're fighting for is not our salaries. I couldn't fight with just my hip pocket, I just can't do it. But I can fight for higher education. That's really what we're doing. We're fighting against the decline of higher education, for which this government, to its eternal shame, has just brought in a surplus budget without giving another cent to higher education, and insisting that we carry on with a 1% cut across another 3 years. I'm head of a department, I have been most of my life. I am sick of running a deficit budget. This will be 10 years in which I've been asked to trim the budget of my department. I am now cutting quality out of the curriculum. I care about my students. I cannot continue to do it. This is what we are trying to resist. I totally support this proposition.
Say what you said before.
Staff.
I like what you said before.
What was that? What was it? What did I say?
About your head of department and
right.
The cuts and that. I like that.
No, then it's not working. Can't get it to work. It's not working. It's not working. No.
Well, I'm going to put it on mic.
You might be out of batteries, don't you?
All right, we're moving off now. We're going to deliver the demands. What do we want?
Job security!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Job security!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Quality! Quality!
When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
Quality!
Watch me. When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Job security!
When do we want it?
Now!
In light of this lack of progress, this meeting endorses the following industrial action. Firstly, a half-day strike from midnight to midday on Wednesday, 2nd of June, with picket lines to be established.
I'm the General Manager of the Security Service, and I can ensure that it gets it to, that they get to him if you're satisfied with that.
Are you deputised to accept these resolutions?
I'm not a part of the executive management, no, I'm not.
Would you mind if I went in and presented these to the personal assistant?
I'll ask the personal assistant to take those copies.
The head of security has been duly authorised to accept the motions passed at the meeting of the National Tertiary Education Union.
I just tried to see if Dame Leonie was there, to see if she knows that the university is dead. A closed door, the university that we knew is now dead. I wonder if she'd like to know that. She's not there to hear it anyway. She'd only have to come and look at the staff of her own university. I never ever believed I would be in a university on a day in which the Vice-Chancellor shut his door to negotiation with his own staff. I can't believe that. We have always been a collegial institution. It's heartbreaking. I find it, I'm shocked. As soon as I saw that door, I must admit the image of Martin Luther came into my head.
But he's part of the union. I don't think he wants to know, quite honestly.
But that's us.
Yes.
That's his staff.
Yes, Anne, yes. I'm afraid I'm not in the least shocked or... no, it's just the way...
It's hardly collegial.
I agree, it's hardly collegial, yes, hardly, yes. But, no, I think any gang of students and staff or whatever seen, gathering together at the corner of the quad, and nobody wants to know. I don't think that anyone will be... I'm not in the least surprised the door wasn't open.
Well, I mean, the Vice-Chancellor spoken to the students. Did he want to speak to his own staff? Anyway, I can't believe it. I'm too upset. I've got to go and have a cup of coffee. I really feel upset.
I didn't hear you speak, but a number of people said you spoke very well and were very proud of you.
Oh, well, thanks. I only said what I believe everybody in that room was feeling. That's all.
Still takes courage to say it, even so. Yeah.
Oh, it seemed obvious.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks anyway. Okay. We've got to win this one. It's war now. For me, it's out and out war, and we've got to win. Plenty of time to get a piece of paper and pen ready. In the meantime, here are a few of the fashion accessories that will feature later in the programme. These are light things with a top. Let's judge whether on the
If only they'd known about free BT Answer 1571. To activate, call 0800 003 800.
Critics everywhere agree it would be a crime to miss Lucky Break.
I think about you all the time and I don't know what to do about it.
Hilarious, a movie with real heart, says Empire Magazine.
Cheers.
And Radio 1 calls it funny and romantic, the big Brit hit of the year.
Don't do it.
From the director of The Full Monty, Lucky Break.
By digitally sensing its surroundings, the new Citroën C5 offers lights that work automatically, Hydractive 3 suspension that really does read the road, wipers that know when it's raining and how hard, and EBA, emergency braking assistance to slow you faster. And its 19 onboard computers have now been rebooted to make the perfect estate. The new Citroën C5 range, technology as it should be, 100% useful.
Right on target. Just for men hair color targets only your grey hair. Replaces it with subtle tones, like your own natural color. All in 5 easy minutes. Right on target. Just for men, targets only the grey.
Powerful new bagless cyclone cylinder cleaner from LG with an easy-to-empty dust chamber. LG Cycling.
Too big. Okay. We have these smaller leather-bound notebooks. Fit nicely in the top pocket.
That's great. Do you take cards?
Of course.
Oh, football. Barclaycard. Marvellous, isn't it?
Don't just sit there. You could save up to 20% on motor insurance. Buy online at directline.com or pick up the phone now.
Mike, started.
You're joking. Come on, sit down. Take it easy, love.
Oh.
Hi, can I have a taxi, please? Go on to the hospital. As quick as you can, mate. Just breathe. Taxi's here. Get easy, yeah? Yeah. Go as fast as we can. Hold your head. This is it. We're going to have a baby. Good luck.
Love football? Then you'll love BT's choice of unique deals with ITV Digital and Sky Digital.
What?
Call 0800 001 800.
Hi, mate. Did you know the university's on half-day strike till 12 o'clock?
Hey?
The university's on a half-day strike till 12 o'clock.
Is it?
Yeah. Do you belong to a union? If you drive across now, you're actually driving across a picket line, an official picket line, so you'd be sort of strike braking.
Oh, okay.
You'd like to turn your truck round. There's a turning circle just in there.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I think you can just turn around just around there. Yeah, woo! Yeah. G'day. Did you know the university's on a half-day strike today?
No, not at all.
Eh?
Not at all.
Well, it is. So if you drove across here, you'd actually be strike braking. You'd be driving across an official picket line.
Yeah.
Would you like to delay going up there till 12 noon?
Okay, I'll come back.
Good on you. Okay, but do you want to turn the car around? It's just on that turning circle there. Bless you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Hey, that's 3 cars. In a truck. Yo, I'm getting into this.
You've got the charisma, haven't you?
I don't think so.
We know that they've been the ones that are taking away the rights for students and everyone to have a decently well-funded public education system. And it's just bullshit and we're not going to take it anymore.
Students United will never be defeated.
The universities are thought banks. They're knowledge banks. They're where knowledge in our communities reside. They have to be protected. They have to be preserved. We have to have the opportunity to go on extending that knowledge. With the kind of staff cuts that are hitting universities, with the kind of degradation of academic life that is going on, where we have no time anymore to do research because we care enough about you kids to want to put you first and to go on teaching you, there is no way we can go on protecting, preserving and extending knowledge. And as we enter the 21st century, the human race is going to be confronted with the kind of problems we've never had to deal with before. We need to be as clever as possible. This government has got to get the message. Bring universities back to the top of their funding priority. We know that we're in the key of E flat. Okay, here it is. Nice, big, heroic, settled key. But this point, which I call the liberation of the human spirit, is in E minor. Listen to that. Just about as remote from E flat as a key can possibly be. There's E flat and then E minor. Hear that shift upwards by a semitone. That sweet moving from that heroic, steady, godlike key of E flat into E minor, the key of the spirit. And so the spirit flies free at this point. Now, this is profoundly symbolic in Beethoven's life. Unlike Haydn or Mozart before him, he had a different view of the artist in society. He didn't believe the artist was of the servant class. On the contrary, he believed that the artist was the most important member of society and far, far greater than the so-called ruling aristocrats of his own time. There's a lovely story about Beethoven and Goethe. The two of them were walking along, and coming towards them were a group of aristocrats. Goethe, being the courteous gentleman he was, stepped aside and doffed his hat in a way that was becoming of a gentleman. Beethoven, however, barged straight through the middle of them, hair flying, and of course, you know, the ladies, the rude, crude, ugly, impulsive, horrible, rude, vulgar man. And he joined up with Goethe afterwards, and Goethe was a bit taken aback, and he said, also Beethoven used to spit whenever he had the, you know, anywhere he felt like it, he just used to spit. He probably spat as well, but we can add that as an elaboration to the story. Goethe said, well, why did you do that? And he said, because it is they who should give way to us.
This ceremony has been arranged in order to confer degrees upon and award diplomas and certificates to those who have fulfilled all the conditions.
Dear Leonie, on Wednesday last I knocked on your door on the off chance of being able to share with you directly my sense of despair in the present circumstances of higher education.
With Honours Class 2, Division 1, Lara Jane Bardsley Smith.
Leonie, I have been cutting my department's budget now for nearly 10 years. I'm presently carrying a 20-hour per week teaching load, which is unsustainable, and every day am filled with further despair by some new tale of a beloved and esteemed colleague who has simply had enough and is quitting the university.
With the BA Pass degree, Mervyn James Adams.
Their collegiality is so completely eroded, it seems to me that we no longer have a university in any terms that I can understand or relate to.
The degree of Master of Arts with Merit, Jane Marie Cole.
I believe the flashpoint is very near. It distresses me to find myself so much at odds with people I once regarded, in many cases still regard in such high esteem as academic colleagues. I cannot any longer accept the downgrading of this university without voicing my protest in every possible way. Okay.
I've got a lecture to give on Beethoven's Ninth tomorrow. About the brotherhood of man. I just don't think it's even worth doing. Anyway, the next day I fell foul of Bettina, and she had a go at me. And reduced me to tears. These are still... I didn't leave. I bloody felt like leaving. I better go. My colleagues will start getting mad with me for being late, and they'll have a reason. And take some. Anyway, I offered to resign as head of department to Bettina because she accused me of not staying in touch in a responsible way with what was happening. So I offered to resign. She didn't accept my resignation. I just wanted to leave then. I knew at that stage I couldn't leave because it would have been gutless apart from anything else. I wasn't going to give my colleagues the satisfaction of seeing that I'd broken down under that sort of pressure. I did break down. And anyway, the day went on and it was, I can show you the agenda, it was about things like fundraising and it was obvious. The Vice-Chancellor said one or two things more which made sense in terms of my being able to understand where he was coming from, which is his view, and it's not an unreasonable one, is that you do all you can to influence government policy when it's in its formation, but once it's policy and once it's legislated, you have a responsibility to work, to operate within it. I can see that's a fair point of view. But when you feel that policy is wrong, what do you do? It's a real moral dilemma. It's a terrible dilemma.
Is there an agenda?
Yep, it's been circulated. But it was done on Wednesday.
It arrived in our pigeonholes this morning.
I don't care when it arrived. It was done on Wednesday, Winston. That's all I said. Okay, so am I.
Sorry, Ricky, that's bad.
And I'm going to have, you'll have my resignation as well as head of department. I can't go on. I just cannot go on without support from my colleagues. No. I'm the one that does all the apologising around here. I'm not going to do it anymore. Just this time that I need a bit of understanding and support from my colleagues as well. There needs to be some sense of respect and even sympathy for the job of being head of a department in a time like this. Anyway, I don't know what I'll do. Probably nothing for the time being. I'll just let things settle down and try and get myself up and running again. I do know that I've got to start writing some music. If I don't write some music, I'll bust. Okay, so now what are we trying to write here? What is it?
A Kyrie. I didn't put the words in. I was so disgusted with it. I decided to use the Panjalingua, having listened to Josquin's Panjalingua Mass.
Yeah, I hate octaves, Karen. Why do you like, which people wouldn't use octaves? Only occasionally are octaves justified, and only when they're a colour. What about... Instead of... As soon as you do that, you resolved it. Finish. But if you do... then that note has to do something. And then you actually then start on a discord. Instead of... do what you've written. Okay. Palestrina's written music like this. If you can't say something original, if you can't say something a bit different, then just leave it to him. There's no point in regurgitating. And also, what is Kyrie doing? What is it? What is it in the service? What is it doing?
It's the very beginning and it's pleading for mercy.
It's bringing us into the presence of God! For God's sake! I mean, it's magical! It's divine! It comes from out there! I mean, be like Beethoven, be electrical! Because that's what music is about. Connecting to spiritual energy. Let it happen. I mean, this is not bringing us into the presence of God. When Palestrina wrote like that, it brought him in. Sorry, I probably just about gave you a heart attack. But seriously, you've got to get into this. from that kind of energy, that sort of spiritual energy, it's a magical opening to a magical ritual. I mean, bringing us into the presence of God. Sorry. Well, that's what you should be doing. So, clean slate. Start again. And let the magic happen. And if it doesn't, then don't be a composer. Go away. Do something else. There are so many people walking around this earth trying to be composers, and they can't bloody write music. They shouldn't be doing it. Don't be one of them. You've got a lot of talent. You can do it. Anyway, sorry. Do you want a cup of tea? Yeah. What do you want? Green tea or normal tea?
Just black, please.
That ordinary English tea?
Ordinary English, yeah.
Okay.
No sugar.
Okay.
I'm used to interviewing people, finding out what makes them tick, getting to the truth. But imagine interviewing a man suspected of a rape and he laughs in your face. You've got to listen to his story and assess it against the evidence. You can't get emotionally involved. You can't show your emotions. I don't know whether I could do that.
The new Argos catalogue is out now, with thousands of new products and a whopping 1,200 prices down, including our lowest price digital cordless phone for under £49. Get down and pick up a catalogue now. Argos, brighter prices, brighter shopping.
Wyclef Jean, The Eclectic, Two Sides to a Book. The incredible special edition album includes the hit singles Perfect Gentleman, It Doesn't Matter, 911, and a 5-track bonus disc including the hit single Gone Till November. Wyclef Jean, The Eclectic, Two Sides to a Book special edition CD. Available at Virgin Megastores.
Powerful new bagless cyclone cylinder cleaner from LG with an easy-to-empty dust chamber. LG Cyking.
Didn't want to lecture her before she left for university. After all, we'd just end up arguing.
Darren, how you doing? This is Phil. He's our...
I suppose we could have emailed her, but there were things we wanted her to really think about. So we sent her a letter, and knowing how headstrong she can be, and how she'll do the opposite of anything we tell her, we told her to eat loads of junk food, always mix your drinks, and never ever go to lectures.
Imagine if information were water. This is what today might look like. Pretty wet. Got the internet, hundreds of TV channels, had some spin doctors and PR gurus, and we've got a flood on our hands. Who is pulling the strings? What is important these days? If information were water, we'd be drowning.
In a virtual world, it's difficult to do justice to the Ford Fiesta's incredibly smooth ride and secure handling. In the real world, you just have to take it on the road. And the reality is, with 0% finance available and a 3-year warranty, you can do just that from £6,995. Ford demands a closer look.
So it's more romantic and more
It can even be more
spiritual.
expansive. It can be even more expansive still.
You
And
see,
this
that
is
also solves the balance, really.
the metaphor for eternity, for eternal life, you know. So absolutely timeless. Timeless. Yeah, that's much better. That's,
Yeah.
that's
So-
terrific.
so
It sounds gorgeous. And that time, that tempo, it really, really works. And those dynamics, it really, really works. I mean, get rid of those triple Fs. I mean, they're shocking. They should not be there. I'm sorry about that. It should be, in fact, a decrescendo after mode. But there is an absolutely distinct break, or should be, at the end of bar 265. That's one of the points which there needs to be a...
You do the crescendo, do la, and then do a diminuendo and come off together. One, and... The shepherd is like one, and the wood, and the
So you wouldn't consider being acting head then for next year?
I mean, there are certain things that I would quite happily do, but I can't use the computer. I mean...
We'd find a way around that. I mean, Chris or Michelle can come in and download your messages for you.
And I wouldn't go to meetings. I'm telling you now, I wouldn't go to
Well,
meetings.
I think the department can survive if we don't go to meetings. I mean, I'll go to faculty board meetings for you and that sort of thing. I don't mind doing that. But basically, Winston, I just need some time, I think, to get over the trauma I've been through in recent months, in terms of, you know, the shock I've had of realising that as a manager, I think I'm bad news for the department.
I've just... I'd have to think about it.
Well, I don't know, Winston. I mean, I
feel, I mean,
I've got to tell Bettina in a few months' time if I'm going to be available as head again next year, and I really want to say no. I don't think my health will take it, to be honest. I really have got to prioritise composing again. I mean, you know I love this department, and, you know, I love what we represent as a group of people. You know that, and I know that you do too, and that, I mean, to a fault, that we have this thing to a fault. I've found 10 days this year in which I've been able to compose.
Oh dear.
I don't think there's a really good way out of this, actually. And I'm not going to make myself available as a head of department next year. And the way I'm feeling at the moment about the culture of the university, I would really like never to make myself available as a head of department again, because I just don't feel I can cope with the economic rationalist philosophy on which we are now expected to operate. I thought about this, and I mean, I now feel that for the rest of my life I want to make an absolute priority of my composing. That composition is the thing that I really, really want to do as a first priority. I don't wish to resign as an academic. I enjoy my teaching tremendously, in fact, probably more so now than I did as a younger person. Now, but then this brings us back, that's my personal position, this brings us back to the business of the department. And it seems to me that, and I've thought about all of you and, you know, your own priorities and so on, and I realise that, in a sense, this is putting us all in the lurch. But it's a lurch I'm afraid we're going to have to embrace.
It's sort of difficult to deal with this with it coming out of the blue the way it has, because I think everybody's probably got plans and commitments that were predicated on the assumption that you were going to continue, which is, I mean, basically the indication has always been that you did want to continue. So I think that we need time to think this out, and I think we need to talk amongst ourselves a little bit outside the context of a meeting. I mean, particularly the people who are affected. I don't particularly want to have a really public discussion about this, and I don't feel ready to. I mean, I've known about it for 5 minutes, and you know, I've just spent 2 weeks making all sorts of commitments.
Just A, G. That's E minor. Without the B.
I'm not sure about that last. I like it. Like absolutely everything is wonderful to that last chord. Anyway, move on. We'll come back to it. See how it goes. This is the pentatonic collection. Is seen in the context of C-sharp minor, and there you get the first characteristic Bartók dissonance, the so-called black and white contrast that he uses so much in his music. This is the only little bit of it you get, this prismatic colour, if you like, the colour that comes through the mode. I've just written a piece that uses that technique. It's a wonderful technique to explore, because there are so many colours to find within individual modes. And if you think of E minor, here's the E minor chord. It's not really very far to shift that to C-sharp minor, is it?
Tricky, isn't it?
I just don't know where. I don't know where to begin to address this, Chris. No. I mean, I don't even know how to make a case for special needs. The discrepancy is now so great.
Mm. Yes. No,
I mean, do we get our knickers in a twist at this stage, or do we just sort of take a long, deep breath and calm down and say, look, it all worked out last year, we'll work out again next year?
I think
what does
in terms
one
of
do at this
sanity,
stage?
one has to do that.
So there goes MIDI techniques, there goes Australian music,
Goes
there goes computer music.
all our computer courses have
There
to
goes an obligatory course, 18th century harmony and counterpoint.
Yeah.
There goes human moving forms. Well, we've accepted that's gone anyway.
Yeah.
Introduction to electronic music, there, gone.
Stravinsky goes. Music publishing
I've already
goes.
put
Yep.
Peter on notice. I'm softening the blow and saying that we're going to try and offer that every second year, because I cannot cut that out of our curriculum.
It's going to be very popular, I think.
We'll have to go to a
Well,
2-year curriculum. I mean, that's not irrational. I mean, we'll have to go to a 2-year curriculum. That's been on the cards for some time. But one can say that as a rational decision. Yes, we go to a 2-year curriculum. One can say that with a nice, happy smile on one's face. What does that mean? It means that the class sizes double. And what does that mean? It means the quality of teaching goes down.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, here we go again. Yes. But it gets worse every year, doesn't it? Introduction to Stravinsky, gone. Music publishing, gone. Orchestration, gone.
Well, that's a compulsory course.
That's a compulsory course. You have to put an asterisk against. That's core course.
As is 20th century harmony. But that is on the Dean's guideline that no tutor may give a discrete unit. Then 20th century harmony would have to go as well, because Ian Shanahan does that all by himself. So that's what I'm one.
That's gone.
Yes.
But that's also core. That's also
yeah.
Is that core?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's composition
yes, it's
too.
Composition too. That's right.
All keyboard goes. That's all done by casual staff.
Yeah.
We
don't worry. That's why it's important to find obligation.
What we can't do, Alan, and this is what I've been through in my mind with a sense of nausea many times over the last 5 days when I've had to think about these matters. What I can't do in conscience is go back to the faculty and ask for more.
Yes, you can.
I don't know where the money came from last year, considering that faculty hadn't got any.
We went into deficit, and we have been asked to address our deficit as a faculty, and we have to repay, and it's costed over several years. There'll be a lot of pain involved. Very few replacement posts will be made. We have to repay it to the university within a limited number of years. We need to be entrepreneurial now and go out and find money to support, from the outside community, support part-time teaching.
We were told that as heads. I can't do it. I've already put my cards on the table in that regard. I'm not an entrepreneurial person. I cannot go out and ask for funds. I'm just incapable. I can't do it.
What is very, very important in a crisis situation is to remember the decisions we made and our wisdom when we were not in the crisis situation. And when we were not in the crisis situation, it was very clear to us that people were overworked, and if people were overworked, they were going to get sick and they were going to be inefficient. We may have to make more radical cuts to our syllabus than we wanted to. We simply cannot teach a syllabus that we can't teach.
I feel obliged to teach all the things I taught, as many things as I taught in the first semester, and to do the marking that I do and build it into the structure of my life, because it is my life and I'm quite prepared to do it for the salary I get. And I'm not going to do less because 3 or 4 of you decide that that's too many courses. I'm not doing less. It's going to stay.
It's an important question of principle. I mean, we have already decided that the questions of teaching load are something that we were going to take as a group. And it simply won't work, Winsome, if you say that you're not going to take any notice of a decision that might be arrived at by the DBM.
No, I'm an individual. I don't operate as a group. I do not have group opinion. I do not share group opinions. In this country, I still believe that you can, a single voice can operate, that you are entitled to an opinion and you're entitled to work the way you want to work.
I don't regard my teaching load as a problem. I think my teaching load is sustainable. In crisis times, I'm more than willing to continue with my teaching load and carry the headship load undeterred. That's my choice as an individual, and I've made it. I've agreed to stay head of department for 1 more year, and I'm willing to carry a normal teaching load plus the headship duties without complaint.
If, in this situation, both Anne and Winsome go against what I would construe as the advice of the DBM, then indeed, I suppose they have an individual right to do that. I think it should be understood that it is against the advice of us as a group, whatever that might mean, and that there should be, they should also realise that there can be no equity considerations arising from their particular decision to land themselves with what we really, as jointly, consider is too much work.
You are obliged to fill in on the front cover your name, your given names, your student number and your seat number.
Next Monday, True Stories uncovers the shocking truth about Russia's conscript army. Soldat is at 9 o'clock. Well, next on 4, in place of Daram Vir, which we're now showing at 1:20 tonight, we've highlights of the extra day played in the C&G Trophy semi-final between Leicestershire and Lancashire.
Sorry, Channel 4.
Oh, make me over.
Tamara, Tara and the rest of the gang.
I'm a B.
Big Fat Zero. Jordan, she is a true celebrity. She is out there.
I'm AA+ miss.
Rika Johnson, B hovering on C.
And where are you in the queue?
Z, I reckon.
Wir sind Weltmeister, Werner. Jetzt gibt ihn. Wir sind Weltmeister, hoffentlich.
11 Meter für Deutschland. 7 Minuten vor dem Ende der Partie und die